welcome back to Everything Anime Podcast. I'm one of your host, Shinry, here at the Everything Anime Podcast, over from anime, manga, video games, TV shows, and over on the topic we're talking about. Today's video is on the penultimate episode of Dr. Stone. That's right, there is only one more Dr. Stone video left, and then we are done. We know who the Wyman is, we know how the Dr. Stone ends, we know everything. But since, like I said, even though I finished Dr. Stone in the previous video, I'm going to talk like I don't know who he is because I want to speculate with you guys in the videos and in the comments. And then when we do the final video, probably tomorrow, we'll talk about the reveal, my thoughts on the ending, and etc., etc. But for now, let's talk about Dr. Stone. Chapters 222 to 226. One big step for Senku, one small step for the Y-Man. In the beginning of this chapter, our characters are molding spacesuits for the pilot, the warrior, and the scientist. We now acquired everything we need. We got the spaceship. We've got the pilot being Stanley Snyder / our marksman. We got Kohaku being our ultimate eyes / warrior, and we got Senku being the scientist. Now, the rocket engine, the spaceship, and the rocket engine was the other thing we needed. We needed the rocket engine, which Dr. Zeno got to us. In the previous chapter, he got us a level 99 rocket. That's how we were testing the rockets in the first place. Now, we should be ready to face the ultimate threat. Like, we have everything we need. This is the 3 things we needed. We should be good to go. But before that, Senku says he can whip up something fun that the group wants and that they start naming. He's like, hey, we're about to go face the white man. We got plenty of time left. What do you guys want? Now, I might add this in the final video because I feel like I know now why they kind of rush through these things. But also, I just want to explain for this part in particular, a lot of this stuff is going to come really fast. It's only 1 page. But when we get to the final episode, or the final video of Dr. Stone, I'll explain why that probably felt like kind of rushed. But yeah, he asked the group what they want. They start naming off things from a video camera. I think that's what the reporter wanted, to a washing machine, which seems vital. Usually ask for a washing machine. He's like, hey, I'm making all these clothes and stuff like that. We need clothes that we can wash. Somebody asked for a microwave, a jacuzzi, even a robot maid, which was kind of hilarious. I think that was like Genro or Magma. One of the ladies, man. Oh, it was definitely Genro. Genro was like, ooh, how about a robot maid or something like that. But I was like, the microwave is definitely essential. The jacuzzi, sure, why not? But definitely the washing machine. But yeah, I was like, that's pretty cool. He first starts making a microwave, and I just learned this for the first time, that microwaves, like how they heat up food. I never do like how microwaves heated up food. I just because there's nothing, it's not like an oven or nothing like that. Like, apparently electricity zaps the water molecules in the food that we put in the microwave, and that's what heats them up. I thought it was kind of cool, because again, when you read Dr. Stone, you like learn things about science, maybe stuff you didn't know. And like, again, I did not know how a microwave worked. I think it's pretty dope. And then we begin creating a lot of random things and random wants. Well, not all of them are random. One of them is plastic wrap, which is essential to Francios because all this food she's making, she does have to keep it, from getting spoiled and stale and stuff like that. So I was like, that's another essential that I didn't even think about. The washing machine just makes sense, and the video recorder is also used to record history in real time. I thought it was really cool because we use recorders even in the 90s. I don't think they use recorders now. Nowadays they use TikTok and just upload anything with your phone. Before, they used to keep those memories with video recorders. So having that, they can document everything that's changing in the world. Hold on, guys. I need to make sure I turn the stove off. We'll be right back. And then everyone starts shouting demands on Senku, which surprisingly only one person isn't shouting, and that's Taiju. We know Taiju loves to yell. That's Taiju's thing. But Taiju, it's not that he's having a change of character. He's just really calm, I guess. But he simply asked for a cell phone. It's something that he asked Senku a long time ago. Hey, Senku, can we make cell phones? And when Senku first brought that up, he's like, whoa, we're way too far away to be making cell phones. But now Senku says, yeah, it's time. We can finally make one. And seeing how we've made the telephone was way different. We've made, we went a rocket ship, so maybe he could make a cell phone. But I was like, the telephone was like what we were expecting. So I was wondering what this cell phone looked like. It can't be like a modern day cell phone. And as he goes on how to make the screen, he simply he says it's simple. To which Gen, our insert character, Gen, when we don't know something or when we think something isn't going to be simple, Gen is our insert character that responds for us. He's like, nothing you've ever done is simple. And so Senku goes on to explain the process. It got a little bit too complicated for me. I'm not even going to go into massive detail about it. I'll show it off. But in the end, we do have a smartphone. Like our telephone, it isn't modern, but it's a strong start. It looks pretty cool. And then, that's before the reveal. And then, like, we can see it has, like, internet, it has games, it has, like, a stone world map, because remember, the world's got reset with all, like, the volcanoes going off and, like, the world shifting and stuff like that. But also, hilariously, it has phone calling. So, I mean, I know we have telephones, but, like, we don't have other cell phones. So I guess Senku's going to make other telephones for people. And everybody's happy until they see the giant backpack you have to wear to make it work. But Taiju's happy and Taiju's super strong. So like Taiju wearing that giant backpack to hold his little cell phone is nothing for him. But I was really happy for our character. I was like, I love Taiju. Taiju deserved that. Taiju got Yuzu. Taiju got his cell phone. He's really strong. He's always been there to help us out. I really love that. Taiju got his cell phone in the end. But thanks to that invention, the next thing we need to build is our space shuttle cockpit. We are so close to taking off to the moon, I could feel it. I was like, okay, the cockpit shouldn't take that long. We've already got the whole rocket ship built. We sent our space shuttle into space. We've got a space telescope looking at the moon. Like, a space cockpit shouldn't take that much time, especially, like, again, less than 10 chapters left. I was like, there's no way you're going to drag this out. And then when you know it, by the end of chapter 22, we are ready. Everything we've been waiting for has led up to this moment. And so now the three astronauts begin their final preparations, and we get a cool look at all of them in their spaceship, their spacesuits. That was pretty exciting and pretty cool. The three of them all get heartfelt goodbyes. Kuhaku, she shows them home with her sister Ruri to tell her to come back home safely. And I like that because, like, we haven't got a lot of Ruri, but we've got enough for her to feel like an important and impactful character, especially her relationship with her sister Kuhaku. Chrome, though jealous, inspires Senku. He's like, I wish I could have been the scientist that goes, but it does make sense that you're the one that does it. He's not only smarter than Chrome, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Chrome's my favorite character, but I mean, like, he knows that, like, either Senku or Zeno was probably best to face a Y-Man. And Zeno tries to plot with Stanley. He's like, hey, we could still take over the world now. And then Stanley's the one that's like, come on, we ain't got time for that no more. I really like that, even though it was given like Animaniacs, but Stanley ain't down with it. Like, he's just like, yeah, we're not. Oh, the two rats. That's what I was thinking. Animaniacs, two rats. Like, Bright, Pinky. It's time for us to take over the world. Like, Zeno would be the short little mouse, and then Stanley would be the bigger mouse. Even though Stanley ain't dumb, he just I don't know. They always said the pink in the brain. One is a genius, the other is insane. Obviously, the genius is the taller rat, even though he looks dumber. And the insane one is a rat that can take over the world. So that's what they was giving me. They was giving me that. Zeno does, however, give Stanley chewing tobacco since he can't smoke in space, because we know that's like Stanley's thing is like he's always got a cigarette in his mouth. And obviously, you're in a spacesuit, that like tobacco, that carbon dioxide is just going to stay in that helmet. You're going to choke. So he gives him, like, chewing tobacco, which I thought was pretty cool. And, Stanley Snyder felt grateful. And again, I'm still getting this, like, romantic vibe between the two of them. I ain't saying they're gay, but I'm just saying I'm getting it. Sakata praises Kuhaku and Stanley both for their fighting prowess. He knows, like, Stanley Snyder is like a combat tactician, and then Kuhaku's just naturally good at fighting. So he's like, Kuhaku, you're not stronger than me, but you did surpass me. You kept up with me. I know that you too can help protect Senku and take down the Y-Man should any threat arise. And Ryusei, though jealous of Stanley, praises him as well with a powerful send-off. There's a twist coming with that, I'm going to tell you now, but Ryusei, he does also give a farewell because Stanley Snyder took his spot. Meanwhile, Luna is freaking out because she might never see Senku again, and Senku's like, don't worry, the death rate in space is only 5, which hilariously makes her freak out more. Now, I thought Luna might still somehow end up being Senku's love interest, but again, we're going to say that towards the end of Dr. Stone, because there's like a twist with that, which I really liked, and surprised me actually, but I really liked. But I did think like Luna was somehow going to end up with Senku somehow, some way. Now everyone is worried that once the spacecraft takes off, it could explode with them in it. Though Gen tries to put up front that the three of them being petrified during launch is like the worst case scenario. So if they explode, find all the pieces and put them back together. So the fact that we built a rocket, but the rockets have been exploding before, they're like, hey, you guys are gonna petrify yourselves once you get in the space cockpit, and once you take off, if it explodes, at least you'll be shattered in pieces of rock, and we just put you back together, and then we'll rebuild a rocket ship. We can try this over and over again until it works. And they're trying to make light of it because it is scary, but they also know they can bring their friends back. And Senku's kind of going with it too. He's like, it's kind of dark. Which is why Yuzu and Taiju assure them that if it happens, they won't rest, even if it takes decades to find all their pieces and revive them once more. And we know how dedicated Yuzu is. We saw her way back in the Stone Wars. That's what inspired Yukio to join our side, because he saw Yuzu particularly putting every piece back together to make sure those people came back, that we could revive everybody we could. And so our best friends being Senku, Stanley Snyder, and Kohaku, yeah, we're going to find every piece to put y'all back together. It don't matter how long it takes. I really love that. And I also love that Joel and Kaseki finally get to meet and they get to work together to craft the Medusa weapon back to working condition. Because that was Joel and Kaseki's thing. Joel and Kaseki were like, hey, I want to meet you. I want to shake hands with you. I want to have a drink with you. Really love that they also got their moment together. Now our crew has everything they need to face the Y-Man, and we can only pray for a successful liftoff. I mean, it could be in these 10 chapters. I mean, maybe if again, that's for the last video when I want to talk about the end of Dr. Stone. Maybe this could have dragged out a few more chapters if the rocket failed, but we've already done that. So I was like, there's no reason to do it again. But first, we have to petrify ourselves in case anything was wrong. But we have our watches with revival fluid to bring us back if it does work. So all of them, Kohaku, Senku, and Stanley, they have their watches on. So once they petrify themselves and once they get in space, their watches are set up to go off once they arrive in space. But then Yo brings up a good point. What if the Medusa weapon goes off again before they face the Y-Man? Which is an even greater point. But since we've been monitoring it 24/7 with live broadcasting, it means that they can't replicate what happened. So we know when Yo and Gen got petrified a few chapters ago, when no one was near the Medusa weapon, unless there's a hidden Y-Man, which I believe is Yukio, but unless there's somebody hidden there, I was like, it would mean that the Y-Man is either on the spaceship with them. It could be Stanley or Kohaku, or we know it ain't Senku. It could be Stanley or Kohaku, which would be crazy if it was. But it could either be them, or Yukio is going to sneak on the ship, who I still had suspected, and he's the Y-Man. And once again, as I said, Yukio was suspiciously in panel, but for now our crew is petrified and we begin the countdown. So once again, I was thinking like, Yukio, why do you keep looking suspicious? Why did they keep trying to make me think that you're the Y-Man? And again, where this chapter ends, we're going to speculate together. But at this point, I was like, Yukio, it's hitting that you're the Y-Man. The anticipation and the build-up was like making me like even nervous. I was like, I ain't even a character in Dr. Stone. I was still like, bitch, I hope this works. I was like, I felt like I was in a damn manga myself. I was really having a good time with Dr. Stone. And then we get another full circle moment of super early Dr. Stone when Senku as a kid and Taiju fired up a small rocket ship with toys of themselves in the space. Like Senku had a toy of like Taiju himself and Yuzu, and they ended up in space. And Senku was like, one day I'm going to go in space too. I really like that. The ending of this panel is Senku monologuing about how far they've come and ends with a successful launch taking off. It's so beautifully drawn, and I really want to like show off this, and I really want to shake this author's hand. I've already talked about it in Bleach, and my mom met the author, T. Kubo of Bleach, at New York Comic Con. I would love to meet the author, Dr. Stone, and shake his hand and be like, man, you draw some beautiful comics. I mean, beautiful manga. The storytelling is great. I would really compliment him based off what I love about Dr. Stone so far. We then get some images of modern day from around our time of around the world, as it was. It's an image of what the world was before and how the world is now. It's like a half and half cover. You guys will see that when I'm talking about. But I just like that was cool. Like he's showing like how it was modern day and where we are now. Before a calm shot of our ships successfully in space, after 224 chapters, we made it. We're a third of the way there. We still have to land on the moon, and then we have to find the Y-Man. But the fact that we got to space and we got there successfully and nothing went wrong, I was like, okay, this is exciting. And there was only 8 chapters left at this point. I was like, oh man. I was like, we're going to battle the Y-Man. Like, I was like, I don't know, it might take us 2 chapters to get to the moon or something like that. We might encounter like some kind of enemy or something. I didn't know what's gonna happen. I was like, in 8 chapters, it's getting so close to finding out the end of Dr. Stone. I was so excited. I was so hyped up. And notice I keep saying the word was, not am. It's a spoiler for like the ending of Dr. Stone, but which is not in this video. It's in the next video. And then Senku gets to do what very few people get to do in their entire lifetime: see the world from space. I would think it'd be awesome for anybody, including like a normal person, everyday person, to see the world from space. I think that'd be really cool. I think it'd be dope. And I was like, that must be such a cool experience. I was very jealous of that. I've skydived before. There's a video on my YouTube channel of me skydiving, and I fell through a cloud for the first time. I think it was like 14,000 feet. It was insane. I was not afraid the entire time. I was smiling. I was laughing. I gave a thumbs up. And it's one of my favorite photos that I have of myself, and I would definitely do it again. However, when Senku makes it to space, he quickly realizes that he's the only one so far who's self-revived. Kohaku and Stanley still haven't self-revived yet. And this is where I was once again thinking, is the white man behind this? Is Senku awake early because the white man wants to like confront him? Is there some kind of trap going on? I didn't know. But thankfully, it was not set up by a secret agent or Yukio or the white man who I suspect. It was Zeno doing this as a precaution in case anything goes wrong. And since Senku is a scientist, he'd be easily able to solve it. Or at least that's what he says on the surface. There's actually another reason. Hold on, guys. Probably breaks in the video. Anyways, Gen sees through it. He knows exactly what Zeno's up to. Zeno actually did this to give Senku a moment to himself because, don't forget, Byakuya was here in space at one point. And that's the only reason Byakuya survived petrification. If Byakuya had stayed on Earth, well, I guess not saved. Well, yes, saved, because if Byakuya wasn't saved, Senku wouldn't have been able to have the Platinum he needed in this present day, or be able to get Nikki to our side because of Lillian's song. So there's a lot of good reasons. And well, Chrome and others wouldn't exist. So there's a lot of good reasons why Senku's father Byakuya didn't survive, but at the same time Senku feels alone because Byakuya's gone. So it was a very touching moment, and I like that Zeno did that for Senku to give him that moment to himself. Stanley is then revived shortly after, and Senku confirms to Stanley that he was in on the plan, to which Stanley like kind of smirks. He was like, it wasn't my idea, and he like smiles. I thought it was very cute to show like Stanley Sider's on our side as well. And lastly is of course Kohaku. We even learned though that originally the spaceships were going to be designed with no windows, but the crew protested as seeing space was vital to their mental health. I think that was dope. Again, another cool thing, another science thing we learned about Dr. Stone is like, when they originally built spaceships, they designed them without windows. They just designed them to like go into space. But to like help the scientists or astronauts' mental health, they allowed them to see space. Because again, how cool is it to know like you're in space, to see that zero gravity and all that like actually happening in real time? I think it's really dope. And so that was a cool lesson to learn. Bring it up in your science class. Like, hey, like originally they didn't want to bring, they built spaceships without windows, but they changed it to help astronauts' mental health. I think that's pretty dope. Kohaku then immediately begins having fun in zero gravity, as I'm sure anybody would. In zero gravity, hell, even I would be doing flips constantly and all that. That'd be pretty fun. Also, Francios made us space ramen, which gives Senku space ramen for the trip, which gives Senku nostalgia, which is good. That's because that's the same thing that Byakuya and his crew ate on their last wars, was space ramen. And we've had ramen way back in Ishigami Village, the first early days. That's one of the first things Senku made for the whole people that were there. Everybody in Ishigami Village. So that was pretty cute, cute callback. I also love that Kohaku is the one who says this message to him, as she was the first person he met in the New Stone Age, post-reviving Taiju and Yuzu. She says something like, oh, like your father was here. You're doing everything your father did. You came to space. You're eating space ramen. She's like, you're following your father's footsteps, basically. Or basically a stepfather. But we never... Getting ahead of myself. But you're following in your stepfather Byakuya's footsteps. However, despite the success of this mission, we have no signal back on Earth, which could be potentially bad. So no one on Earth currently knows that what's going on. We've lost communication with them. But that's when Senku realizes something else. Someone sabotaged our spaceship because we have an electrical issue. This wasn't random, and I have a feeling we're about to locate the traitor. I was like, okay, once again, the Y-Man could be among us. It was really given that the Y-Man is among our crew. Or he sabotaged our ship before we made it to space. But despite these challenges, Stanley is of course up to the task. As an expert marksman and pilot, combined with his combined skills, they're no match for him. So they're basically trying to connect all of these parts of the ship, the 5 parts of the ship. And because they have this electrical issue, they can't do it without... they have to do it eyeballing it, basically. And then we found out there isn't a traitor among us, which I thought was pretty lame. It apparently was a random strand of hair from Yo that fell off. And I was like, man, I wanted some payoff. I wanted some payoff that somebody was a traitor. And there, again, still could be a possible traitor by the end of this chapter. But I was like, you're ruining all the setup. Having somebody have sabotaged us back in Ishigami Village, or having somebody have sabotaged us that's among the pilots. or among the pilot, the warrior, and the scientist, or even possibly hidden among the spaceship would have been really fucking cool. Would have been a great twist, and then that could have been a whole fucking remaining chapters about who the white man is and what he's been doing and how he got away with it. I don't know. However, despite there isn't a second traitor, we do have a second pilot. That's right. Ryusei, he's not the white man as far as we know, but he has come with us, and he was hidden away on the spaceship as well. And thank God he did, because with that random hair from Yo, we nearly were in the dark. Like, we got 4 of the pieces connected thanks to Stanley Snyder's marksman ability and being a great pilot. But this 5th piece, they can't see it. They didn't know how they were going to connect it. And so, like, they're relying on Ryusei and his pilot skills to connect that final piece. And I also love this, like, panel of Ryusei just spinning around the wheel because the power on his ship is out. And so we need Ryusei to dock precisely on our ship, or he could end up floating in space forever. So, like, here's the situation. We've got 4 of the pieces connected thanks to Stanley Snyder. And the 5th piece is where Ryusei is at. And we need his piece to connect with our piece. If both of these pieces don't connect, Ryusei could just go flying off into space for the rest of the time, and we will never be able to save him. And we'll just be stuck in space, unable to land on the moon. But since Ryusei is a pilot, well, he doesn't have power. He's just manually doing it by spinning himself around. Like, he's having a blast. It's really funny. You just have to look at this panel. But of course, in the end, Ryusei does succeed, and now we have 4 astronauts on our ship ready to return to Earth and make it to the moon to confront the white man. So now we got Ryusei being a pilot. Ryusei doesn't have 2 skills, but I was like, okay, maybe they'll all be essential to taking on the white man. In the flight to the moon, our crew is once again petrifies themselves once more, and then they arrive 3 days later. We don't have to, like, sit through, like, any kind of 3-day monologue or something like that. They just petrify themselves again, and 3 days later they land on the moon. We then make it to the moon, and now we're about to find out who the white man is. And I'm going to show off this gorgeous panel because, again, I love the way Dr. Stone shows everything. And the way he, like, detailed the moon and everything, it's really fucking cool. We also learned a fun fact about the moon. We always see the front side of the moon, but we never seen the back of the moon because it's all beaten up. And it also takes a brunt of meteorites. So any meteorites that would have hit Earth, they're basically hitting the moon first. And so basically, the moon, the back side of the moon, the dark side of the moon is, like, nearly destroyed. But we always see the front side of the moon. If the moon had flipped over or if it rotated, we would see apparently a beaten up, fucked up moon. So thank you, moon, for protecting us from all the asteroids. Thank you for that. I thought that was pretty cool, that the moon protects Earth. I never thought of it that way. I knew the moon lights up Earth at night, but I never knew that the moon protected Earth like that. As we prepare for landing, someone has to stay on the ship to check while the 3 remaining go to the moon to confront the white man. Senku at first offers to stay behind, but it is Ryusei who says that he'll stay behind, as Senku is the first scientist who ever gets to step on the moon. So I thought it was pretty cool. I was like, Senku, first of all, I knew Senku wasn't going to be the one left behind. And I was like, Stanley Snyder could get left behind, but obviously he has a dual thing as, like, our marksman / the one that's going to shoot the grenade launcher. And then Kohaku being our ultimate eyes, it obviously would fall on Ryusei to want to stay behind. They all are then taken back. They all begin back at Earth contemplating what Senku should say when he lands on the moon, since he'll be the second person ever to land on the moon. Taiju is like, hey, they're all saying, like, Senku, what are you going to say once you land on the moon? Like, you'll be the first scientist to ever land on the moon. And then, like, they're all naming things Senku could say. And Taiju immediately quotes Neil Armstrong, which gets a hilarious reaction. But Senku says he never even put any thought into it. I think Neil Armstrong's thing was, like, one small step for man, one big step for America, or something like that, or mankind, something like that. And Chrome says that when he lands on the moon, he just says the moon is bad, because you could definitely say that. That's what Chrome would say. So what would Senku's first words would be? It's, of course, Senku's famous quote, "Get excited." I love that that's what Senku came up with, because that just fits what Senku would say. And so I'm going to show off this great panel of Senku landing on the moon saying, "Get excited." That's his first words. Now, once again, we made it after 227 chapters. This is the final chapter we're going to talk about. After the world was petrified twice, and after many battles, we finally made it to the moon where we will confront the white man face to face. I was like, there's no other things that can happen. There's only 5 chapters left, and we still have to know the white man's motivation, who he is, who she is, who they are, who it is, like, whatever, who he, she, it, them, they, whatever the fuck he wants to name himself, or her name herself, or it names itself, that we still have to confront the white man. We have to know the motivations. We have to know how he did this twice, and, like, all 3 of his messages. I was like, and then we have to resolve everything and get back to Earth. So as they're preparing to take on the Y-Man, Kohaku almost accidentally petrifies our whole group, which gets a hilarious reaction from everyone, and would have made this whole journey null and void. I think like she's like, once we hit the face of Y-Man, all I have to do is say 1 meter, 1 second, or something like that. And then she starts to say like 1 meter, and they're like, hey, Kohaku, stop! You gotta set the Medusa weapon off. I thought that was pretty funny. And we ain't wasting no time. We have a Land Rover, and we're already like speeding out to face of Y-Man because thanks to Kohaku's ultimate eyes, we know where that black mass is that the Y-Man's at, or his base. And then as we're traveling among the moon's crater, we get to see the American flag that Armstrong left behind. The moon landing is confirmed thanks to Dr. Stone. Because, they used to say the moon landing was fake. Well, according to Dr. Stone, the moon landing was real. Okay, the American flag is on the moon. And again, I love the attention to detail the author puts in. We're going to show out this beautiful panel for a few seconds because, again, I just love how cool it is. And then something strange happens. Once they found the base that Senku and Kohaku asked... No, once they confirm that they're at the base, like this black mass or this black building or whatever this is, Senku asks Kohaku to open the seal around the Medusa weapon, which she finds even weird, and then Senku says, please, and we know that's never happened. Like, Senku ain't ever been the kind of person to say please. And then it turns out, yeah, Senku never said a single word. The Y-Man was once again imitating Senku's voice, and I was worried for a brief moment that the tables had turned against us. I was like, the fact that Senku's voice came out of the Medusa weapon or somewhere around us, I was like, that means either Kohaku is lying. Well, no, it can't be Kohaku. It can't be Senku. I was like, that means either the Y-Man is Stanley Snyder, the Y-Man is Ryusei, or the Y-Man is Senku's fucking father, twin brother, something. I was like, because again, at this point, we have never met Senku's father. We don't know who Senku's father is. We just know that Byakuya was friends with Senku's father, and Senku's father gave him up to Byakuya, and Byakuya took care of him. That's all we know. So I was like, at this point, it could be a major fucking reveal. And that's when we get the Y-Man's 4th message. Thank you for unlocking it for me. The fact that he said that, I was like, okay, the Y-Man is fucking here. He's either in that base or he's with us. It has to be fucking Stanley Snyder, or it has to be Ryusei. I was going crazy, man. And then we get this psychotic grin, and I could not wait to find out who this character was. But Kohaku was ready, and since the moon is 1/6 times the gravity of Earth, when Kohaku tosses our weapon in the air, it flies like 6 feet times. It flies 6 feet higher than it would if she would have been on Earth. And then I was like, well, that's not good. Now we lost our only weapon to stop the Y-Man as well. Like, you threw our Medusa weapon. I mean, she had to because she unlocked the Medusa weapon by accident. And if we had petrified ourselves at that moment, would have been fucked. But then again, Stanley Snyder could kill him. Like, Stanley Snyder's a marksman, or wound him or something. And I also love this intimidating sight of the petrification light, as though it was the eye of the Y-Man, or like Sauron from like Lord of the Rings glaring down at our crew. I was like, oh shit, this is good. Again, building up that hype. And I'm going to show it off for a few seconds, but it's building up the hype of who the Y-Man is. Beyond this, Senku finds the black spot we saw on the space satellite, and Senku says that he's finally figured it out. And I was like, good, share with the class. Who is the Y-Man? You're looking at this black mass, you're looking at this black base, you're looking at this black spot, and you're saying you know what the Y-Man is. And guess what? It turns out the Y-Man was among us all along. The call was coming from inside the house, okay? That's what was fucking happening. And I was like, no fucking way. I was like, it's either going to be Yukio back on Earth because he's going to be suspicious. It's going to be Stanley Snyder somehow, some way, or it's going to be Ryusei somehow, some way. And I had to put my guess in before turning the page. I was like, oh, I'm going for Yukio, I'm going for Stanley Snyder, I'm going for Ryusei. I was like, I don't know how, but those are my 3 guesses at the time. But let's also speculate who it can be, because again, we're ending this video here. We're not going to reveal who the Y-Man is yet to the last video when we talk about Dr. Stone to the end. Now, I was like, then I started thinking about it. Like, everybody was petrified at one point or another. Ryusei was petrified, Stanley Snyder was petrified for a while. You know, Kohaku is not even from our time, and there's no way they can lie to us about that because Ruri's from this time. And then I was like, it could be Yukio. I was like, it has to be Yukio. I was like, I couldn't see it being Stanley Snyder unless he somehow had been like devious as fucking tricking us. And, you know, I didn't know. I didn't know who the fuck it could be. But I was certainly confused. But we're going to end the video here. Put down in the comments below who you think the wine man is before we go on to the next video. And then we'll end the Dr. Stone video by talking about the last chapter together. Or last couple chapters together. Anyways, that's all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place with my words today. I'm going to work on that. Anyways, I'll see you guys next video. I'll talk to you later. Hey guys, this video was sponsored by me, the author of the Shinry series, the Chronicles of Wayne, and Monsterverse. So I figured I'd do this outro a little bit different by showing you guys what you guys will be checking out. So, the Shinry series starts with Book 1, Shobu Samurai Project Aryoku. 10 years after the death of his parents, Shobu Samurai returns home seeking vengeance, but instead faces the choice to save his home from shadow creatures, blood beasts, and an organization once thought dead. Shinry's Shobu Samurai starts at $9.99. And if you love anime, manga, Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, Yu Yu Hakusho, Fairy Tail, Shaman King, Rave Master, Zatch Bell, anything like that, the Shinry series is definitely the series for you. You'll definitely want to check it out. The Sword of Light is probably the thickest one so far. And then these books are 2. This is Enter the Dread Zone Tournament. And the series original ending, Arado the Legendary Konjuis Master. So, and I'll just show you guys some of the covers. Really proud of all of these. But I hope you guys check it out. If you don't like that, I also have the current published books for the Chronicles of Wayne, Love Be Damned, Cotton Candy, Full Moons, Fabled Lovers, A Cursed Virgin's Bite. If You Go Where Monsters Dance, Red will Rain Over Your House. Love Be Damned. Now, the Chronicles of Wayne is about a geeky guy, or a nerdy guy in high school. His senior year, he has a crush on the hottest guy in school, because of course he does. He's only got one best friend, and her name is Barb. Well, the hottest guy in school turns out to be a werewolf. And to make the story more interesting, he bites Wayne and turns Wayne into the first ever wolfman in the last 10 years. And because of that, it was also a sacred law that wolfmen should never be created. I don't want to get into too much of the Chronicles of Wayne without spoiling it, but I can tell you it's very short. This one sells for $6.99, and Love Be Caged right after it. The ending of this trilogy, Love Be Liberated, comes out in October. So I'm going to definitely do a more full in-depth review of this one. But yeah, it's an LGBT fantasy fiction story about werewolves, vampires, white witches, a dark warlock, and, well, many, many more surprises to come. So if you guys like to read, I definitely recommend. These are all the books so far in the Shinry series, except for Shinry's Beginning. I do have that one, but it's just not here with me. But yeah, I appreciate a like, support, or just a review on Amazon. Either way, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great day.